Hi, welcome to Yvonne Meets Food, where I share my passion for making food, eating food, and traveling the world to discover and eat even more food. Welcome back to the final episode of my 4-part series of delicious places I found to eat across the 4 major boroughs of New York City in 2020 that you absolutely need to try in 2021. We began our search for yumminess in Brooklyn, made our way up to Queens, traveled to the Bronx, and now we'll be finishing off in the borough in which I currently reside, Manhattan. Some are oldies and standbys, but all are certainly goodies. Let's get munching. So starting downtown in the financial district, we found out about Caravan Uyghur cuisine. There's not a ton of Uyghur style restaurants in New York unless you were in Flushing, the occasional little hole in the wall in Manhattan Chinatown. And this spot was particularly easy to miss because it's on a tiny street behind Water Street. So definitely look out for that if you're looking them up on Yelp and trying to find out where they are. So given that it's on a tiny street behind Water Street, you'll know that you're in the right area if you look across from the restaurant and you see a lot of really cool street art. Because we were only taking little nibbles around the city, we didn't order a full-on meal here, but the things that we did get that were very, very notable and delicious were the lamb ribs, which are very tasty, a little bit spicy, packed with lots and lots of flavor because of the various spices that were used. Cuminy, smoky, crunchy. The cumin in it definitely sung. And then the other thing that we got was a lamb meat pie. Very flaky, very soft and moist and fluffy, and the meat inside was super juicy and very, very tender. And then as an added bonus, everything is made to order, so you definitely want to take your time here. Don't be in a rush when you go. But the added bonus here is that I even enjoyed the free black tea. It's actually very tasty, very well-rounded, and not even a little bit astringent. Now we're headed to Manhattan Chinatown. If you follow me on my Instagram, you'll notice that I spent quite a bit of time in Manhattan Chinatown. Just kind of reminds me of home. It has all kinds of delicious food that I grew up with, that I love, that I crave all the time, just given my heritage. And one of the new spots that I found out about that actually opened the month before the pandemic in 2020 was a little tiny spot on Eldridge Street called Quay Cafe. So if you're familiar with the food scene here in New York City, you'll probably be aware of the fact that there's not a ton of options when it comes to Singaporean and or Malaysian cuisine. Well, Quay Cafe is here to solve that problem. So they are a teeny tiny shop, but they definitely have a very robust menu that, unfortunately, during the pandemic, they have a set menu that changes every week. But in non-pandemic time, their menu is quite comprehensive when it comes to all the delicious Malaysian food you could possibly enjoy. Things ranging from your delicious chicken curries to nasi lemak. You can even get a side of just anchovies and salted peanuts, and of course the infamous kueh. So kueh are basically a catch-all term for like little cakes that are made in the region of Southeast Asia, and there's so many different varieties, and the number of kueh are endless throughout the globe. And at Quay Cafe, they have a number of varieties that change every single week, and they are very lovingly made, and you can tell how painstaking it is to make them just when you see them on display. They also have delicious desserts that are very, very intricate. So the caramel kaya cake is super decadent. I think it has like 10 different layers, which is crazy. And then they also had an amazing burnt cheesecake with pineapple the first time I went. And the second time I went, they had a burnt durian cheesecake. And you know they're definitely Malaysian and serious about Malaysian cuisine when they not only tell you it's durian, but they tell you the variety of durian used to make their cake. That's legit Malaysian. Pillowy. Super soft. So as you can tell, I really like Quay Cafe. The owner is super nice, super humble. I've already met her twice and she's very sweet and just so enthusiastic about spreading the knowledge and love of Malaysian cuisine. Their egg yolk fried chicken, I think it was salted egg fried chicken. The nasi lemak were delicious the first time. Super potent, didn't shy away from the fishy or the shrimpiness, and the desserts were all amazing. And although they are only doing a set menu during the pandemic, it's also important to note that they're pretty much, as of today, only open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So check their Instagram to get their latest menu as well as their latest hours. Last spot in Manhattan, Chinatown, also a bit of a cheat because this is not the first time we've gone, is Wuhan King. So this corner spot we actually discovered a few years ago, but we really love them. They have really delicious Peking duck, which they make to order, and they also slice it and carefully place it on the buns with all the garnishings for you, which is really convenient and nice if you want to keep your hands relatively clean. Peking duck. Uh-oh. They also have a lot of other incredible Cantonese dishes on their menu as well. So even though they are called Wuhan King, I, embarrassingly enough, have still not had their wontons, but I've read very positive things about them because I'm a huge wonton fan. And their sauteed vegetable dishes are incredible. Their garlicky gailan is probably one of the most flavor-packed sauteed vegetable dishes I've had here in New York in a Chinese restaurant. Their service is quick, and you'll definitely enjoy your meal here and get a pretty good bang for your buck because, as most of us know, Peking duck can be very pricey, but you'll definitely get a good deal here. Yay, we're moving a little bit north up to the East Village. And so one spot that we visited, it was actually 4th of July weekend when we visited, was Bar. So Bar is a beautiful upscale Indian fusion restaurant, and they have delicious food, incredibly beautiful and well-crafted cocktails. If you've ever thought that Indian food cannot be paired with alcohol, well, Bar definitely proves all of those assumptions wrong. Their cocktails are really well made. They definitely complement the dishes on their menu very well. And I love their classic desserts that they kind of put a little twist on them. Their version of ras malai was super delicious. And the decor inside is really stunning. It's very clear that they put a lot of time and effort and thought into making this a beautiful place with a lot of beautiful and delicious food. Last spot in the East Village is Kolkata Chai Co. So again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see that I'm a huge tea lover. I particularly love chai, so spiced tea. And Kolkata Chai makes really delicious chais, a few different varieties, and the owner is very friendly. They're active on Instagram and have a lot of really fun social media posts. They even have chai packs that you can buy to make your own chai at home. And then as an added bonus, it's not just a place to get your tea, you can also get a lot of fun and delicious Indian snacks, ranging from puri to samosas, and of course the very popular Indian biscuits called Parle G. Another spot that we found during the pandemic, we visited the Midtown West location, but there are also other locations in other parts of the city. It's called Bibble and Sip. So Bibble and Sip is an Asian style cafe with very modern decor. They have cream puffs, which are probably the best thing that are on the menu. Now there are a lot of places that are doing cream puffs now, but this place was particularly good because it had a really nice crisp exterior with a really fluffy, soft, airy inside. And on top of that, the filling for the cream is really good here. It has a really nice strong flavor, but it's not too sweet. We got the Earl Grey as well as a matcha cream puffs, and they were so light and fluffy with just the right amount of tea flavor and not too sweet. And a special occasion restaurant also in Midtown West that you could definitely check out if you're in the food for fancy, yummy, and well-presented Indian food is Indian Accent. So this is definitely a special occasion spot. It's quite expensive. It's not a cheap eat, even remotely. Their original location is actually in New Delhi in India, and their menu is basically upscale, modern, fusionish Indian. Tiger prawn. This shrimp's perfect. They have delicious mains ranging from ghee roasted lamb to fenugreek chicken with crispy parsnips, and the desserts were something that definitely stuck with me after we left. We had this incredible dish that was called Makan Malai with saffron milk and rose petal jaggery brittle with almonds, and is one of the most beautiful desserts that I've ever had. Wow. It's like rasmalai custard. Of course, they took quite a bit of liberty in that it's not authentic Indian rasmalai. I actually had a few people message me on Instagram who are Indian, and they were like, yeah, that's not Makan Malai. But you know what? Kind of have to get creative when you come to restaurants like this and kind of mix it up a little bit. So they have a tasting menu. They have all kinds of delicious dishes that you can eat there in a really nice setting. And highly recommend that you make reservations in advance because they do have timed seatings for outdoor dining during the pandemic. Now we're going to be moving further north in Manhattan up to Harlem. And so one spot that I really loved that had tons of outdoor seating because the street was totally blocked off from vehicle traffic was Melba's. It is a Southern comfort food restaurant, and the most notable thing on the menu and the most popular thing on the menu is the fried chicken and waffles. It is likely one of the best fried chicken and waffles we've had in all of New York City. The service is very fast and friendly, and there's definitely ample outdoor seating, so you don't have to feel that you're gonna get crammed in with like a lot of other people who are eating during the pandemic. Another spot that I absolutely wanna go back to because, to be honest, we didn't have the food here, but we just had cocktails, was Archer and Goat. It's located on Malcolm X Boulevard, and the cocktails here are not only beautiful, but they're very well crafted with a beautiful blend of delicious fusion-y flavors. They have a great outdoor seating setup, and the inside is also really beautiful. When I went in to use their restroom, I was like, wow, that bar is super pretty. I'm definitely looking forward to going back for a full meal because the menu sounded super eclectic and very, very creative. Okay peeps, now we are leaving the Harlem area and going all the way up to the almost northernmost tip of Manhattan, up to Inwood. And so in Inwood, there's lots of really great spots here. I definitely feel like it's a bit of a gem and a place that people don't know that much about who live in New York City. In fact, someone I know who lives in Inwood says to me often, yeah, I don't think most people who live in New York City even know what Inwood is, much less where it is. But it's definitely a place to check out, especially if you like food. The original location for Patacon Pisa is here. So Patacon Pisa is actually a spot that I knew about when I lived in Elmhurst years ago in Queens. They are a Venezuelan restaurant, pretty much a hole in the wall in Elmhurst when I saw them, but they have multiple locations in Elmhurst, on the Lower East Side, and this OG location is the original truck in Inwood. So if you're not familiar with what Patacon are, in a nutshell, they are little flattened fried plantains, and they're eaten in different ways throughout Central and South America, but in Venezuela, as Patacon Pisa tells us, they are served like sandwiches. So they're basically filled with a protein of your choice, ranging from shredded pork to marinated beef, and then they're stuffed with Venezuelan cheese, lettuce, a delicious secret sauce, along with some side sauces. And I'm totally obsessed. I hadn't had this since I was in Elmhurst, and when I tried it again after so many years, it just felt like, I was back in those days when I still lived in Elmhurst and I had this available for easy access for a quick meal after work. It's super yummy and you absolutely have to try it, and it's definitely a steal. It's like a single dollar sign place. You have to go, you have no excuse. Another little spot that we found, which is a total hole in the wall, but you have to go, is Tacoria Emilio. Also in Inwood, they have the most delicious tacos that I've probably had, likely in Manhattan probably. They are packed. When you think of a taco and you're thinking, oh, it's probably only gonna be a bite or two, they do not skimp on the filling here, not at all. We had the al pastor taco and also the lengua taco or the tongue taco, and they were brimming with meat and brimming with all kinds of fillings from lettuce and tomatoes. It was super tasty, super fresh. The meat was very tender. If you're hesitant about having cow tongue, this is a place to have it because it basically just tastes like beef, but even more tender and soft. So much filling. Look at how much filling. Pineapple. Really yummy. Lengua, tongue taco. Super tender. So good, melt in your mouth. Just go if you're in Inwood. And last, but absolutely not least, is Chalk NYC in Inwood. So Chalk NYC is a beautiful pastry shop bakery that has some of the most spectacular pastries and desserts that I've seen in all of New York. And so when we visited, we got the hot chocolate, the pistachio eclair, and also took a baguette to go. And every single thing we got was incredible. It's a beautiful little shop. They have a fully open kitchen so you can see all the action. The service is very friendly. The prices for New York are relatively cheap. The pistachio eclair that I got there, it was ginormous, peeps. I couldn't believe how big it was and how cheap it was relative to its size, because I know that if I got an eclair of that size in Lower Manhattan, it could easily have cost twice as much. Monster pistachio eclair. Uh-oh. Look at that crunch. Look at it. Just look. It's still filling. Super nutty. It is filled with the most decadent pistachio nut cream filling I've ever had. I couldn't believe how much pistachio there was. It was almost like just endless pistachio overload when I was having this. I just couldn't believe how good and delicious it was. No skimping on the pistachio at all. So if you are a pistachio fan, highly recommend you get the pistachio eclair here. Hot chocolate's very delicious. The baguette is good. Many other things on the menu look tempting, which means, well, I'm gonna have to go back to try all the cakes, all the pastries. They're active on Instagram as well, so you can get a sense from their Instagram what their store is all about and what they're trying to accomplish by making us all aware of how glorious dessert can be. Well, that wraps up my top 10-ish food finds in Manhattan that I discovered in 2020 that you really need to check out in 2021. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on a delicious spot in Manhattan that you'd recommend I check out as well, as I'd love to hear from you. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get immediate notifications as soon as I upload my next video. Thanks again for watching and hope to see you next time. And as always, don't forget to live yummy. Peace out, friends.